Hey, what is going on, faithful? This is your boy Ronnie Niner, and it's another episode of That Niners Lounge. Joined with me, as always, in good company, great spirits, my boy Mike, represented us very well in California. My guy Mav, as always, talking Niners football down in Florida. Fellas, a lot going on. The 49ers just came off a loss to the Bengals 31 to 17. That is now three losses in a row going into the bye week. Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. What is going on with the 49ers?
Everything.
Mav, let's go ahead and open it up and give the
since I was
stage to
told
you.
since I was told that I'm about the only 49er fan that's happy of the three losses, which is not true. I'm just like, laughing because I've been calling it out all season long. I've been saying something, I feel something's wrong with Wilkes. I couldn't put my hand on it. I couldn't even tell you exactly what it was, but gut feeling told me that defense was not going to be working out so far this year. Um, Mike, we've already spoke. You said it's not the enthusiasm. That's fine. I understand that there are plenty of the coaches on the sideline that can possibly give that feeling to the players when they need it. But I don't know, for me as a former athlete, I feel like it's something that's much more better when it's the actual head of that unit that's pulling you to the side, talking to you, encouraging you, or letting you know what's going on, letting you know what you need to do better, or screaming at you, however the case may be, whatever relationship you have. But the issue to me that I can finally pinpoint with Wilkes is the fact of that he was asked a question and he pretty much answered it. I can't remember word for word what the question was, but it was along the line of learning a defense. Anyone that should be learning a defense, in my opinion, should be the player, not the coach. If I'm the head coach of an organization and I hire a defensive coach to come in and take over my defensive unit, I expect them to implement what they already know into my system, not learning my system and running it and forgetting everything that they know. I feel like that's where the problem comes in at. And I'm also looking at it to the point to where Steve Wilkes was a scapegoat from the jump. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. I'm gonna go ahead and say he was a
Why?
scapegoat from the jump. I
First,
mean, dude,
why
it's
did
all.
why did no one bring up this point when we were hiring a defensive coordinator? Because this is what was said when we were looking. Shanahan didn't want someone to come in and change the defensive system. He wanted someone to come in and pretty much run what we've already been running, but put a little bit of their spice onto it. So when he was interviewing coaches, they were understanding of what that's what their job was going to be. So I think he wanted Wilkes because Wilkes was probably like, yeah, we can do that, but he could also add his little spice on into the secondary because that's his specialty is the secondary, and that's where we were having issues. So Shanahan wanted someone that could keep the D line the same with what they're doing, but add a little extra to the secondary.
The Browns beat us with the exact same defense that we were running, the wide nine. That's crazy. They ran it better than we did, and we have more. And if you look at the name that we have on roster, we have more talent as far as
Okay,
like
right
name
there, you
wise.
good point. Talent.
Okay,
Why is it
so
all
let's
coaching?
break that down then.
Why is
Let's
talent?
break it. Go ahead.
You
We've
say what
got
now?
we've got Hargrave, we've got Warner, we've got all these guys. Why are they not performing? The coach isn't out there on the field. These players are missing tackles. That's not a coaching issue. That's a player issue. These guys aren't playing with the full steam that we've known them to play with. Warner has said it. He knows that they are not playing to their best, and he
That's
believes.
because that's not what they used to playing. That's not what they used to running. They're not used to running no why not.
So
That's
then
not their scheme.
your enthusiasm for tackling should be gone. These guys are
That's
missing.
not their scheme.
These guys are holding off from tackling. Get hit. They're not
They're
playing.
missing.
They
They're
play-
missing assignment. They are missing assignment because they really don't know where to be.
It's not missed assignments. These guys are missing tackles. Guys are running by them and they're not putting in their full effort. This isn't just a coaching thing. I believe there are issues with Wilkes, but we can't just put it on the coach. These guys are not playing to their full potential.
I mean, you could say you can't just put it on the coach, but at the end of the day, it's on the coach. Because the coach is responsible for putting it together, having them run it, and if they miss it, they miss it. He should be adjusting. He should be putting the players in there that's gonna play for him. So therefore, if he's not doing that, that's all on the coach. It doesn't matter what the players do on that field at that point. It's either you're gonna take them off the field, replace them. If not, then guess what? It's on you. Point blank.
Okay, so can we rewind it a little bit so we can like break this take down? Are we saying that Wilkes is just running the system that Shanny wants in place? Can we get
Yes.
that answered first?
Yes.
Okay, so if he's just there to run the system that's already in place, where's the gap then? Is it a matter of him not understanding when to run certain things and what looks he's getting from offenses, or is
Man,
it just a flaw in the scheme or system that they don't no longer have the personnel for, or the guys that
I,
are on the field aren't executing? So can it be both?
okay, so you said three different things here. Holding the scheme, a scheme that's not been working no more, guys not executing, and what was the third you said?
They don't have the personnel for it. The
Okay,
wide
personnel.
nine they've been running since Sala was there, and
Not
the
as
issue I
often.
have with the
Not as
wide
often.
nine, well, it's the technique. Well, it's a Kasarik. Coach K is the one who I think they rely on to run the wide nine in
Right.
certain, like obviously off certain formations. Sala ran it, and my issue at the time was the wide nine opened up the middle of the field for Russell Wilson, and that's how he used to sneak through the middle and just gash us. So there's a systematic flaw, in my opinion, with the wide nine. The thing with the wide nine was that Sala and D'Amico knew when to run it correctly. And I don't think Wilkes has grasped that concept yet of when he should give it a look and when they should be in it, like in passing downs or whatnot. And now teams have also caught on to the fact that they can probably beat the wide nine. So I'm wondering, is it time to make a change to just a basic 4-3 until Wilkes gets it right, or what are they going to do? Because if that's what Shanny's wanting, it's got to work, right? Because
What
we
does
all know
Wilkes
Shanny runs the defense.
what does Wilkes run? What's his scheme? Is it
He
like a
he ran
four
a
three?
traditional 4-3. I think he
Four
may
three,
had
right?
wide out nines. Yeah, but I think when we played the Panthers, like he had his guys in a wide nine technique. And he's had good defenses with the Panthers. He's had great personnel, but now it just seems like there's a miss there, and then teams are just understanding that they can beat the wide nine, and he's putting players in. He's running the wide nine when he probably shouldn't. So I guess that's what I'm getting at. Like, can both things be right?
My thing is this. He and his presser, when he was asked the question, he pretty much made it very clear to me. I just couldn't put my finger on it, but now I know what it is. You cannot be a coach. I've said it again. I'm gonna say it again. You cannot be a coach and come in and get hired to do a job only to do what they're asking you to do instead of doing what you're known to do, what you do best. You hired me for my skills. Let me put my skills to the test. Now, when I'm sitting here trying to learn your playbook and trying to implement it with some of my span on it, these guys are going to get all confused because they don't know when to go into my scheme, or I don't even know when to run your scheme. It's kind of like a confusion between the coach and the personnel. And Shanny's not stepping in to fix it or do anything. He's just letting it ride out until he gets called out for it. Then he wants to point the finger.
Well, that's the thing though, because correct me if I'm wrong. I think when they were looking for a D coordinator, someone, either Lynch or Shanny, it might have been Shanny, said, "We're looking for someone who's going to come in and implement what we already like doing based off of who we have." Right? He said that, so that gives you
You,
reason to believe that he is there just to run what is already implemented and in place because
then
they
you
found
should
it to
have.
be successful.
If that was the case, you should have hired within. If that's what you really, really wanted, you should have hired within. I told you guys, I'm not taking those guys at their words anymore because they say one thing and they do something totally different.
You
It's
said
kind of
that
like
at the beginning when he was looking for a defensive court. It's out there. This is no secret. That's what he was looking for, and no one
that's what
had
I'm saying, Mike. They'll say one thing and do something totally different.
how. That's not. That's literally saying what he wanted and doing what he wanted, and that's what he wants implemented. Like, and also, I mean, the defense isn't horrible. There's issues, yes, but everyone's talking like this is a bottom defense. They're still the 8th top defense in the league. They were still holding teams to set like what was it at one point before we went on our losing streak? 14 points a game. This isn't a bottom of the barrel defense still. It's just something, there's a misconnect these last 3 games, and they just got to tweak it and fix it.
But the thing about the defense is every game is dropping.
What?
Every game, every week, every game, the defense is dropping spots.
Right, because he's right. Mike's right. You're right. I mean, they were a top defense until they smashed the Cowboys, and then after that, something just stopped clicking.
That Cowboys is the catalyst to all this. Because this isn't just defense. This is a team thing. This team is not firing all cylinders on either side of the ball. That Cowboys game was the catalyst to all this. They beat the Cowboys. They acted like they won the Super Bowl after that game, and it's just started to fall off the track.
I told you guys from the very beginning that Cowboy game was not gonna tell our story. It was that Giant game that was gonna be the beginning of our story. It's gonna tell you exactly how we're gonna play based on how the Cowboys played them and how we played them. And the Cowboys right now are so inconsistent. You can't tell who they're gonna lose to and who they're gonna win. You can't. They'll lose to
Well,
the
I mean,
teams
they're gonna beat bad teams and they're gonna lose the good teams. I think we can determine that.
well, that's we can do that. Or they can
But here's
lose
the
to
thing
a
about the
bad team.
Niners, though. I can care less about the Cowboys. I told you guys. I said this. When I seen them come out out against the Browns, and I seen them barking and jawing, at that point I knew that Cowboys win had gotten to their heads. I said, "We're in trouble. We are in trouble," because that showed me arrogance, and that these guys were like, including Debo, who has struggled to become a captain, and Brandon, who has not performed well since that game. So Mike has a point here. I mean, something's going on within that locker room, and I never thought I'd say we had a leadership problem, but I guess I want to ask you guys, are we undisciplined at this point?
At this point, I mean, I think we've been undisciplined for like 2 years now. We had a head so big you can take a air balloon ride in them. That's how big the 49ers been. They thought they've already won the Super Bowl before they could even make it there. And it's kind of like if you have that team, you need to be giving us fans that Super Bowl that we've been itching for years. And it's just something about it is like I don't know what it is, but you can look at throughout the history. Teams that has looked like the 49ers in the past has not won a Super Bowl, or if they have struggled to even win it. So it's kind of like, why do we even have this team full of all these all stars for, and we can't even do anything with it? We looking like this. We looking like no names right now.
Maybe that's just it, Mav. Maybe we have too many Pro Bowlers. I don't know. I mean, we knock it in other sports. Remember when we say too many stars on one team is never a good thing.
It's really not.
But you know,
No,
well, which
3 weeks
go
ago,
ahead, Mike.
everyone on this podcast is like, "That's it, we're it." All these other podcasters are crowning them the champions. Is it not
Yeah.
true? Everyone was
That's right.
I mean,
So
when you don't see no failures, that's all you're gonna say. Yeah, who can beat this team? But then as soon as you see them get beat, it's like, oh, hold on, now we spoke too soon.
We've
I
still
mean,
got
like,
the best start that this team has had in 3 years.
and I asked this question before: did we start off too hot?
I just think they let it get to their heads. This bye could not have come at a better time. I believe with everything in me as a Niner fan that they're going to come back against Jacksonville and be the team that we saw the first 5 weeks.
Well, I'm so glad you believe, Mike. I'm gonna be riding off your belief wave. Like I said, I'm on hope. I'm living on hope this year. You
no,
can
you were
believe.
not.
Oh yeah, that's
No, you are not, Mav.
Why not? Why
Let's
not?
keep it buck.
Why
Because
not?
you've been calling this since day one. You've been calling
Yeah.
Wilkes. You've been having concerns about Wilkes. You've been skeptical. So don't sit here and say
And what did
that
I
you're gonna
say?
you're gonna remain hopeful when you've been optimistic. I mean, when you've been
What?
skeptical, not optimistic.
But that's what I've been saying since the beginning. I hope we win. I hope we make it to the Super Bowl, and I hope we win one. I've been saying that since the beginning. I'm not changing anything. I'm staying very, very consistent right now. I'm so serious about this. All I said was Mike can go ahead and believe for me. He can do twice the believing. Because I'm gonna just stay hopeful. I hope we get that. Dude, it's like let's just be honest, bro. The team been doing so good to the point to where it's like nothing else mattered. We would not be calling out. We would not be getting called out for any flaws. Brock Purdy looked like the quarterback that can't be beaten, and now that he has been beaten it's like no one wants to get on him. No one wants to. No
So,
one wants to
and
talk
we'll
about
look.
Purdy.
We'll get to Brock, and I know you want to get to Brock. I know you're anxious to get to Brock. I know you are. Okay, but let's. I think we need to land on this point here. Is it a chicken before the egg, or is it the egg before the chicken? Is it the players, or is it the coaching? All right, because another thing we didn't talk about is Bosa. Bosa just signed a huge deal. We all talked about it before the season started. Not being at camp was going to hurt him. We all called it. We were all on the same page. He's not having a good year. All right, we bring in now Chase Young. We're throwing money at at the D line like crazy. Why are we paying so much money to help Bosa out?
Mike, go ahead.
He's that's what we've been looking for how many years? That compliment to both on the other side. I get it. He's not getting sacks. And I think that's what everyone is looking at. But if you go back and watch the tape, he's like right there. Like every time he's right there. I know he's been tripping over himself a little bit, but I don't know what it is. But
Almost doesn't count.
Because of lack of effort on both side.
I think.
Oh,
I think it is. I think it's a combination of both things. I think that we have players not playing to their potential, and we also have a coaching problem. I think it is. I think both things can be true here, and they got a bye week to figure it out. And the other thing is, I think the Vikings were coming off a bye, and the Bengals were coming off a bye, so they had time to prepare for us.
Can we talk about that too?
So is Jacksonville.
How do you? Yeah, but that's fine. That's the same. We're both on a bye. But how did the scheduling take a team that's off a bye and a team that's in a short week and put them together? That's just not fair.
Right.
Like that should not be a thing. Like I get it, teams go on buys, but you put them with another team that still has a full week. You put a team that is coming off a Monday night game against a team that has a bye. How is that fair?
Well,
it's
the NFL.
Are you trying to set up a point here in case we lose?
No, because you're not listening to me. Going against Jackson on a bye, that's even ground. We're both on a bye.
Right.
You are going against the Bengals, who had a bye, so they had their 10 days to prep for us. And there's a team that's coming off a bye should never be going off a team that's playing a short week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we just played Monday night, and they had an entire 2 weeks, 10 days to prepare, so they were well rested. with Joe
Didn't the
Burrow.
four, but didn't the 49ers have to agree to that schedule as well? I mean, they don't
No,
just get
they don't agree
No,
to
blindsided
you
it.
by
don't
the
agree to
schedule.
it. You play what's in front of you. That's the beauty of the football, football season, adversity.
No, no, no. I'm
Um,
saying when those schedules are being made, don't they
No,
get
they don't have
like
any say.
previewed first?
No,
they don't have any say in that shit at all.
Okay, I thought they did.
schedule and that is it.
Mm-mm. So, all right, let's move on. We get, there's work to do, and they're trying to fix it. So we just traded for Chase Young. It was a third pick that we're getting for Miko. Chances are we're gonna recover it if he doesn't stay with us. So, in my opinion, we already know it was a steal. I don't care what anybody's saying on Twitter. It was a good trade. We know he's injury prone. What is Chase Young gonna do for us? How is it gonna help?
I've said this in our side group chats. I believe this will be the Emmanuel Sanders of this year. It's not going to be the Christian McCaffrey, because let's be honest, there's probably nothing out there that would be another Christian McCaffrey move. But Emmanuel Sanders is that little piece that kind of created an extra spark that took us that extra step. I think that's what Chase Young is going to be. He's going to come in. He's going to be fired up. The guy's playing for a contract. This is a contract year for him. He's already coming onto this team as our top sack leader with 5 sacks. No one on this team has 5 sacks. They all got 3. So I think he's going to come on. He's going to be fired up, and he's going to give this defense that spark. And I think our D-line is finally going to look like what we expect it to look like when we added Hargrave. And don't underestimate the fact that Chase and Bosa played in college together. Bosa is stoked about this. So if there was a little slowness to the Bosa step, if anything's going to kick it up, I think it's going to be this move.
All right,
Hey,
so can I go now? Hold on, Drew. What's up, Drew? Hold
what's
on. Can
going
I
on?
go
What up,
now?
Drewski?
What's up?
Can I rebuttal on this one? Can I play devil's
Yeah,
advocate
go
on
ahead.
that one?
Go
Yeah.
All
ahead.
right. So 49er fans out there, faithfuls, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, if you put all your eggs in one basket on Chase Young to be a one and done year, you're gonna be disappointed. Don't do that. Me personally, I'm looking at him being this a contract year for him. He's gonna come in and do Chase Young things. I'm not looking for him to be no spark. I'm just looking for him to play good football and finesse the 49ers to at least a 2-year contract to maybe get another run at it, then go somewhere else and get a bag. I don't think this is a rental. I really do believe that Chase Young wants to be a 49er and he's not going to be chasing that bag simply because he knows this is going to be the best team that he's ever going to play for in his young career.
Okay.
And
My rebuttal to that. Knowing that he's injury prone, he wants to get as much money as he can. Taking a risk of signing some cheaper 2-year deal is not going to be beneficial to his long-term future in this league and his bank account. He's going to come out there. He's going to do what Chase Young has been expected to do since he was, the 2nd overall pick the year he was taken. So I think he's playing for that money. And I think the Niners have every intention of this being a rental because we'll get that pick right back if he goes and signs somewhere else in free agency because we'll get another 3rd-round comp pick for him.
Okay, so now to rebuttal on that one.
Hold on. I wanted to say something.
Go ahead, Drew.
Mike,
Jump in there,
Okay,
Drew.
go ahead.
So I wanted to come to Mike because I told Mike this when we was in the chat. You said about them playing together from college and this. This is what I was saying about putting the fire. This is going to put a fire with Bosa for excitement. And I'm hoping that this can pick his game up because now he is back with his friend, his buddy they played with in college. They have that chemistry. So hopefully this picks it up. So I'm looking forward to picking it up. And like you said, there's not going to be another CMC situation. That is absolutely correct. There won't be a free trade situation. That'll be a CMC situation. But I think this will pick up something. And I don't see all the injuries he had happening here. Now about the contract, though, the free agency and all of that, I see him looking for the money also. But at the same time, I see if something good happens out of this and we come out with a bow, He may stay because that's something that they look forward to. This might keep him to stay.
Okay, so with these two scenarios that we just threw out, as far as like being a rental and wanting to stay, I think it all comes down to what Chase Young wants. Does he want the bag, or does he want the ring, or does he want both? Can he get both? You know what I mean? So he has to look at a whole bunch of different avenues within that one street. And as far as them two coming back together, they only played with each other for like 1 year, I believe. Yeah, and Chase was already in the league 3 years before Bosa came in. So I think they've only played 1 year, and I think that was the year they won a national championship together with, or they got to the playoffs or something like that. But if that's how you guys see it, then therefore that defense is going to change tremendously because now Bosa has someone that he can truly trust, someone he knows, but not all that well. If you catch my drift. Trent Williams is probably the only one on that team that really truly knows Chase Young and can possibly get him up to speed a lot
I don't
quicker than.
hold on. So I don't think Trent was even there anymore when Chase got drafted. He was already on the Niners.
Hold on, how
Bosa
long?
has been in the league longer than Chase Young.
No, Trent
Yeah,
Williams. Trent Williams was already in San Francisco when the Commanders drafted Chase Young. So I don't
Yeah,
think he
yeah.
knows him.
but Mav said that Young was already in the league when Bosa got here. Bosa was here first.
No, Young
Yeah.
was here first.
No,
Nah,
because
Bosa's been here.
You sure?
this is Young's
Yeah.
fourth year. The Commanders denied to pick up his fifth year.
Yep. Bosa's a year ahead. So
Yeah, I seen the
is
wrong
Chase
draft.
Young gonna? I mean, is what's Chase Young gonna solve for us? Then I mean, I get pass rush, right? Well, that's the obvious. But so the other thing I wanted to call out with Chase Young, they said he had histories of being undisciplined. But do we buy into that?
No.
I think that's bullshit. I think that's Washington trying to spin it because they got hosed.
Yeah, I agree with Mike after he said that because I seen the same thing and I posted it. But at the same time, I personally don't care because what you do on one team is not going to reflect on another team. It's under different coaching. It's under different staffing and teams and different people you want to play with. If you're not comfortable, like you were saying earlier, with the person beside you, it's going to affect something. So therefore, they're saying, well, he's playing out of position. He kind of feels like maybe the scheme or something he was in was out of it. But now you're coming to a different scheme. You're coming to a different team. So whatever y'all say, I mean, it's whatever because it's not going to be the same situation. I think it's more of the fact of, like Mike said, y'all got played out and now you're like, oh, let's say something bad. Because there was no fuss when he was on the team and before trade deadline came. You didn't even hear about this.
True. So after all that, fellas, I guess the last question before we wrap this segment up, and as always, you're listening to that Niners Lounge. We are live on Twitter, live on YouTube, now coming to Spotify and Apple. What are our expectations with the defense coming out of the bye week? Then, what are we expecting to see from the defense?
The secondary tighten up.
Sense of urgency.
But I mean, that all comes with a pass rush, though, doesn't it?
And that's what I think this is attempting to fix. I think so. When this news broke yesterday, got a lot of football fans in my neighborhood. Bunch of different fans. We got Vikings fans, Green Bay fans, Charger fans, all the above. And at the Halloween get together we're at, everyone came up to me and was like, "This is not fair. How did the Niners pull this off?" I feel the rest of the league is going to see this like how do you let this happen and let San Francisco get this kind of D-line? I think Young will be that missing piece that we've been looking for. And in tune, it's going to affect every other aspect of this defense.
Well, I mean, I expect the same. Drew, do you got any thoughts
For how this is going to come? I think this
for
is
as
going
far
to
as what do you expect the defense? How do you expect the defense to perform against
okay.
Jacksonville coming out of the bye week?
Look, I talked to somebody today, and at the same time, just like I told them, we have a whole bye week. He is official already as of today. We have time to prep. We have time to get it back together. We have time to reset our line and should have plenty of time to rest and actually prepare. So with this going, I mean, we shouldn't have an issue. I mean, this should be something simple going into, and Jacksonville should be in trouble, honestly. Jacksonville's line should be looking like, oh, shoot, we have a problem. And I mean, it's rotational. We got Gregory. We got Young. Bosa should be hyped up, to play with Young. We got Kinlaw, who needs to start pushing. It's too many weapons. Armstead. Then you got Greenlaw. We got Warner. This should all be going. Our secondary should be a little rested. Figuring out the holes and what's wrong. Get this conversation going with Wilkes to actually be on the field. I mean, altogether, it should be a switch for the line and the defense this week.
Yeah, well, we have Womack coming back too.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I'm loving that. So yeah,
honestly
this defense should be back.
Honestly though, what I want to see this weekend is better coaching. What I want to see against Jacksonville is better coaching. When we fall from behind, Kyle needs to stop stressing. He needs to just coach, learn to adjust, and stop sticking to the same old thing. At one point, his coaching was very innovative coming into the league. No one could figure it out. It was hard to defend at one point, but now it's just like it looks like just regular old coaching, no creativity, and he gets stressed.
So if let's just say worst case scenario is our defense gets schooled again. Do we see them firing Wilkes after Jacksonville, or do we see them just finishing out the season with him at court?
I see firing.
I do too. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think because that's what this whole meeting was about. The fact that he even has to have a meeting, like okay, they had a meeting last week, and then he having
a private meeting.
Yes, and then they're having another meeting this week, and he said, "Well, the intention of the meeting is seeing what's going on and actually seeing if we can get him down on the field because he wants them to be more in face of the defense that you are coaching," which I get. So
let me ask you this question:
if you lose this game, there's nothing else to even say to be like, okay, something there's a mismatch and it's not working. It's 4 games straight.
Let me ask you this question. First off, I want to apologize for having the draft twisted between Young and Lance. You guys was correct. Now, how long has Wilkes been in the league?
A long time.
What's a long time?
Probably 10 years.
10 years or more?
If I'm not mistaken, in the last 5 to 6 years, he hasn't kept a job for no longer than a year.
No, he bounces around.
That's too much, bro. Like I'm all up for black head coaches, black coaches in the league, but dude, I'm also to the point to where if you can't do your job, bro, don't embarrass yourself nor your culture. Get the hell out.
I think
Mav, it's not a race thing. He's not embarrassing your culture. Cut it out,
dude.
Mike, what's enough for you? Enough for you, Mike?
To be honest, he got screwed last year. He should have gotten the head coaching job with Carolina. He took a team.
I agree with you on that.
He took a team that was trash and made them into. They almost made the playoffs with them. And look where they are now. They brought in what, Reich again? That guy failed with the Colts.
The Colts.
Now he's failing with the Panthers. Like, why does this guy keep getting jobs?
Like honestly, Wilkes should have had that Arizona job. That's the job he should have gotten.
But he didn't do a good job of it, though. And maybe that team was already just so far gone. But he looked like he'd wanted no part of it. And he's probably right, because now the allegations have come out, and he's going to court for this. He knew he was going to be the fall guy. So,
Bruh,
he was definitely set up to fail. I agree with that.
Wilkes has been the fall
But
guy for at least two out of the 3 years in the past 4 years, bro.
so then maybe give him another season then, or what, Mav? I mean, are you
Nah.
conflicted here? Because like if he needs
Nah, he
another
gone.
year, it's another year of lumps. But
He's
we're talking
gone,
about
bro.
winning now. Okay, well, enough about Wilkes, guys. Enough about the defense. I think we spent enough time on them. Let's jump over to Mav's favorite topic, Brock Purdy. What do we expect from him? So real quick here, Brock Purdy had 4 interceptions all of 2022. He already has 5. He's had 4 in the last game. What's going on with Brock Purdy? Should we allow Mav to go first, or Mike, Drew, who wants to kick us off?
I've got a quick summary of what I think it is. Let's take the Browns game out of the equation because that was just a weird game overall. Vikings and Bengals. He had 3 quarters of. I think the Bengals game, those first 3 quarters might have been the best we've ever seen him. He's showing that he's got mobility. He's slinging the ball. He's connecting with some gorgeous throws. I think what's happening is when we've gotten into these fourth quarter situations where the team's down, he feels he needs to put the entire team on his back. And it's getting into his head. I think he just needs to slow it down, do what Brock does, get it to your playmakers. You don't have to play hero on this team. This team is full of Pro Bowlers. Just do what you do and calm it down. I think he's just getting into his own head and thinks he's got to play hero ball, and that's where he's making these stupid mistakes.
He is not getting
that's
into
a fair
his own
assessment.
head. He is not getting into his own head. Mike, if you watch college football, you will clearly see why I said what I said on the other day when I was like, okay, I've seen his floor, not in his ceiling. I know who Brock Purdy is. And Brock Purdy is no different than when he was back in college. That's who he is. You've seen it with your own 2 eyes.
Well, what is he then, Mav?
Prove with every game. I get it. He's making stupid fourth quarter mistakes. But up to that point, you're seeing improvement with every game.
And you've seen improvement with every game in college as well. That's why I'm like, I'm not against Brock Purdy. I already know who Brock Purdy is. It was just time for the rest of the country to really see it on the national stage, and you've seen it.
Stop it.
Come on, Ron.
Stop it.
You know
bro.
exactly that's what he's done in college, man. Fourth quarter has always been like a kryptonite to Brock, especially if he's playing from behind.
It's exactly what Mike said, though. He was right on it. When he feels like he has to do too much and carry the team is when he gets himself in trouble. And again, that's not a formula for success, especially when you're with a coach who does not have a winning record when it comes to trailing from behind, because now you got a quarterback who goofs off or he does too much. So Mike's right about that. I don't think that's a ceiling, though. I think it's still fixable.
Yeah, you
Come on.
even
Okay,
say
so
you've seen improvements with each game. So how are you seeing his ceiling if you continue to see improvements? If you've seen a ceiling, you're not seeing any more improvement after that. That's it.
Mike, so tell me, what's his average what's the average that he throws per game? Yard wise.
He threw for his most yards on Sunday.
Which was
300 yards.
300 yards.
Over 300 yards on Sunday.
What's his average for the last 12 games you've seen? What's his average?
I don't know. If I had to guess, I would say 250, 260.
Okay. Even in those games that he lost, how many yards did he throw for?
Still about the same.
Okay. That's his ceiling. That's his floor. He can have a good game here and there, but it's not gonna be consistent. You think you think over 300 yards is gonna be a consistent thing for Brock Purdy?
I don't know that. You gotta wait. Let's see.
No, I'm
Let's-
asking. No. I'm asking.
He may
you
not need to throw,
prediction right
but he
now.
may not need to throw for 300 yards every game, though, Mav. Shouldn't you be looking at more stats than just his pass yardage,
I'm just
especially
saying,
on
But I
a
mean-
run-first football team?
I'm
but
just
I'm
using that as an example of him improving. He threw for
But
the
look,
most
though.
yards he's ever thrown Sunday. But
But
how
I'm
many
saying-
games? How many games did he play before he even got a loss?
Even
Don't tell
so,
me that he's-
but that's
this-
what that's what I'm basing it on. Like he's averaging at least like 250 win or loss in yardage, and he's still averaging 2 touchdown wins or loss in yardage. I mean, to me, I see his floor and his ceiling. Whether he's losing or not, he's still gonna give me about the same amount of game. Even if he goes off for one game, like wow, he goes off this game, he throws for them their 400 yards. Okay, but can he do it on a consistent basis? Like, that's really an improvement. If
But
he
does-
goes 2 games, if he
does
goes 2,
Mahomes throw for the same yardage every game?
But he has, though.
But
That's
it's
what I'm trying.
average,
So
though.
look, let's just
That-
take 2022. Okay, let's take 2022. Uh, 306. Wait, so no, let's take this year. 365 versus the Bengals. 272 against the Vikings. 125 was his lowest against the Browns. 252 against the Cowboys. 283 against the Cards. 310 against the Giants. 206 against the Rams. 220 against the Steelers. That's 2,033 yards. That looks pretty consistent to me. Besides
Okay,
the Browns game.
Okay, so he's averaging close to 300 yards a game then. So that's about I say his ceiling.
It's closer to 260.
Yeah, so he's
260
good
to
for
280.
So if I was to bet on Brock Purdy, I could bet for him to give me a good 270, 280, and
Okay,
2
so-
touchdowns. I can
well,
bet that. That's a nice ceiling. I'm not
Why
saying
is
nothing
that
wrong with his ceiling.
Why don't you look
Hmm?
at his whole game? What did you see on Sunday from Brock Purdy that we really haven't seen in the past? There's one
What?
obvious thing that he was doing on Sunday that we really haven't seen.
What, running, getting out, scrambling,
Kid's got wheels. Don't even
running
tell
for
me.
his life?
Extending plays, getting out of the pocket.
Why would he be running from his life, though? Is he not getting protection?
He's
Avoiding
not getting protection.
Yeah, but still,
Right.
we haven't seen from him. So don't tell me you've seen a ceiling when you see a new facet of this kid's game in every game that he plays.
But Mike, that's what I'm saying though. You seen that new facet. I've seen Purdy in college. I know Purdy could scramble. It was exciting to actually see him do it in the NFL. I was like, okay, wow, damn, he got it. But I've seen him scramble. So to me, I've been watching him since college. That's why I'm saying, like, okay, he's averaging close to 300 yards, 300 passing yards a game, and still 2 touchdowns. That's pretty damn nice. I'm not saying nothing's wrong with his ceiling. I'm just saying that I know his floor and his ceiling. I know what Brock Purdy is. I know what he can give me. If he's put in the right situation, we know what he can give you for 10 right situation games. But when the game is on the line and he has to take over, we also know what disaster can happen. That's all I'm saying.
How many interceptions does Brock Purdy have this season?
What, 5, 6?
He's got
He has 5 this season.
Now let's
Five?
go through the so-called top quarterbacks of the league. How many interceptions does Patrick Mahomes have this season?
I'm pretty sure he's got more than Purdy.
He's got 8. Josh
Okay.
Allen.
Hmm?
Josh Allen.
Oh, that's
Might
like
cover
the key
with
right
receipt.
there.
I think Josh Allen got 7.
No,
No,
Josh
he could. Listen, Mike.
Allen got 8 too. Let's play.
Mike could come with receipts all day long, but guess what? Though I'm gonna shut him down.
How many interceptions does Jalen Hurts have?
He's probably got close to 10.
He's got 8 as well. So
Okay.
why is everyone freaking out over 5 with Brock Purdy when the so-called top
Because they want to.
Because if you go
I've
okay.
been said that they want to.
No,
They
hold
wanna
on,
make
Drew.
it a
Hold
big
on,
deal.
Drew. Hold on, Drew. I'm finna shut this thing down right now. Everybody's freaking out over Brock Purdy because Brock Purdy is actually showing his true colors. Last year, I've told you, if you watch Brock Purdy correctly, he got bailed out. He got bailed out. That man threw so many picks last year that just didn't happen. Teams dropped him. He had his receivers come in at the right time. Things was just moving in the right direction for Brock last year. Now it's all on Brock. Brock is showing you who he is. And one more thing, since Steve Young left the 49ers and was replaced by who took over Steve Young? Jeff Garcia. We've been bagging on every 49er quarterback who has ever worn that red and gold. So Brock is no exception. He's gonna get it too, whether he does good or bad.
I'm not saying he's perfect, but for people to sit here and say he's not it, it's time for Donald to come in. I don't see it. I still think
I'm not.
he's going to have his growing pains, like all quarterbacks.
I'm not saying
Mav, you're
that.
talking about him like he's Jimmy Garoppolo. Seriously though.
I said Jimmy
And you've called him
2.0,
Jimmy
and I'm
G.
sticking to
You
it.
yeah,
I'm
you
sticking to it.
wow.
No
I'm
way.
sticking to it.
You cannot look at how Brock Purdy played on Sunday and how Jimmy played on Monday with the Raiders and tell me they're the same football player.
In that system,
No, don't give me that shit.
why not? Why not?
Because I'm with Mike too.
Jimmy
I'm
was
gonna tell
doing
you
the
about
same
this.
things with the Raiders that he did with the Niners. It's no different.
And look,
Listen.
I'm gonna tell you the real hype behind all of this is that we are the hype, and that is it. Like you said, Mahomes, Josh Allen, all of this. Everybody's seen us from the beginning of the season as the Super Bowl contenders, the Super Bowl favorites. So of course they are the hype. When we took down Dallas 42-10, we became even more of the hype. So they've been waiting for him to fail. He's been talked about. Oh, he hasn't lost a regular season game. Oh, he hasn't thrown many interceptions. Oh, they're the number one contenders. Oh, they beat Dallas 42-10. It was so much hype. They was ready to bag on him. I didn't care if he threw one interception each game. He would have been talked about. He would have been talked about bad. Think about it. Dak throws interceptions left and right. How much do you see him get talked about? Like you said, Mahomes has been throwing them. He been getting saved by referees. Nobody talking about that. You talking about he been bailed out. He been bailed out. Why we not talking about that? It's the fact of the hype of the team. That's it.
Jalen Hurts is a perfect example as well. You want to talk about someone that can fail at the end of the game? Against who'd they lose to? The Jets?
Okay.
When it came down to it, what did he do? He threw an interception at the end of the game to lose the game. Is he still worth the $50+ million that guy's getting a year?
I mean, do you feel like he's worth it? No, but does Philly do? Yeah.
Well,
that's what matters, right? As long as they feel like he's worth it, right? It don't matter what we feel like. But when it comes to our team, though, we get to really bag on who's worth it or not. And right now, a guy like Bosa is not playing like he's worth that bag. But we know what he's capable of. If Kyle Shanahan right now didn't really win nothing to get paid that money, but we know what he can give us. It's all good. We'll fly with that as long as he gives us a ring, right? Now, all I'm saying is most people who've seen Brock in college knows who he is. And we were actually able to see it for 3 games. We seen it. The thing that we've been knowing. And what really got me on Brock, well, like I said, I have no issues with him. The kid can play, he can do what he can do. As long as he's put in the right coaching system and his coach does not panic. What got me with it is Kyle's opening his mouth, calling him the real deal. Now, I'm not pushing for no Sam Darnold. I don't want no Sam Darnold, even though I advocated for Sam Darnold to the point to where if he had to come in, he can win at least 3 out of 5. He can give us that. I'm good with it. But is he going to come in? Would he come in at the right moment? If we lose another game and you see Sam Darnold, doesn't that really put us in jeopardy of losing 5 straight? God forbid we lose to the Jaguars. Wouldn't that put us in even more of a tougher spot to trying to come back with Sam Darnold?
Well, Mav, and I'm glad you bring that up. I'm glad he brings that up though, so we can transition right next into our next question here. What do we expect from Brock Purdy from here on out? And then go ahead, Mike, jump in.
I mean,
Kyle said that about his quarterbacks. That's how he feels. He's not the only one saying that. The true leaders of this team are saying the exact same things. Warner goes to bat for Purdy week after week.
But are they being coached too, though?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
How do you know that's being so genuine?
These guys say how they feel.
I mean, hell, actors say how they feel all the time on TV. Don't mean they mean it. I'm just saying, We don't know what happened. We don't know what's going on between those doors.
Warner is
So Mav, then answer the question then. What do you expect from Purdy from here on out? What do you expect to see? How do you expect him to recover or bounce back?
Me personally, I expect Purdy to just be Purdy and play his game. It is nothing that he can really do that's gonna change anything. What we saw, that's who Purdy is. It's Kyle that needs to make sure that Purdy remains in the right situation throughout the game. Don't panic. Don't let the game fall on his shoulders. Don't I mean, we're not, and then on top of that, what I mean by that is don't just keep feeding McCaffrey the ball damn near 100 times a game. Forget using Elijah Mitchell. Bring in Jordan Mason. I don't give a damn about if he has a fumble issue or nothing. He's a better runner than Elijah Mitchell to get McCaffrey the necessary rest that he needs. Bring in Ronnie Bell. Bring in some plays. Draw some plays for your players, dude. Don't just be like, okay, this is who I'm using. No, like last week, he used Kittle very well. Stop using him as a blocker. Let him actually be a freaking passer. Use your stars. Don't sit them on the shelf and be like, oh, this game I'm gonna give you McCaffrey. Next game I'm gonna give you Debo. The game after that I'm gonna give. I don't care about that. I want them boys to come out and be ready to play every Sunday. I want give me specific packages for these guys. They can't just be sitting on the shelf. I'm done with all that. If you can't run my play, if you can't run my scheme, you in the doghouse until you learn it. I'm done with that, dude. These guys are players, they're athletes. You drafted them for a reason. Give them a freaking chance to go out there. Most of these guys, all they need is playing time. That's it.
Okay, so you expect Purdy to recover then, or just
Yeah,
not regress?
he won't regress. He won't regress, dude. Like I said, I see that's who Purdy is. Regardless on how good or how bad he looks, he's gonna throw for close to 300 yards. He's gonna give you two TDs, whether it's one passing or one rushing. So you can bet for Purdy to do that. Now the only thing that comes into play is how often does he throw interceptions? Does he calm that down? That's the only thing. But other than that, that's who Purdy is. Purdy's Purdy.
We'll see. All right, fellas. Last take, and then last topic, and then we'll just go ahead and wrap it up here. As painful as this is to say, the Seahawks are now number one in the division. How soon before we reclaim our title back?
this week.
This week, I was about to say this week.
They're going to lose the Ravens this week, and then we're back to number one.
Hold on, they play who?
The Ravens.
The Ravens.
Oh yeah, we'll be back this week.
And we got a bye week.
Yeah.
So if they lose, we go back to number one.
Mm-hmm.
And then looks like we got somewhat, I guess, of an easy schedule, they say. Lightens up. Are we where? I know we had predictions earlier, but we see a bounce back, right? We don't see it. We don't see the wheels falling off here.
No, the last two big games we got is what? Ravens and Eagles.
Yeah, we got
Should be. Let's put it like that. The last two big games we should be having.
We come back against the Jags, then it's the Bucks, then we got the Seahawks on Thanksgiving, then it's Eagles, and then the Seahawks again up in Seattle or down here at home. So I see us maybe if this bye week does what I think it's going to do, I think we lose maybe one more game the rest of the season.
Mav,
What?
Final thoughts?
I plead the fifth on that one. I'm gonna just leave it alone on that one. I said a mouthful all night, but I do want to play a quick game with you guys real quick though, if you mind.
Oh man,
What you mean?
Let's do it.
If you took Kyle Shanahan with the 49er team he has now and put them anywhere in the NFC East, do they win division and how often? Let's say
With the Cowboys and the Eagles and the Commanders?
Let's say you take out the Giants.
100%. They win the division
How often?
every year.
Well, I could tell you for a fact, I see the South and the North. We can win division damn near every year. I could see that. But now here's the kicker though. Place them in the AFC. Where do you see them? Do they even fit anywhere in the AFC? If you go to the AFC East, who do you take out? Let's say the Patriots.
I see him anywhere, Mav. I see him playing anywhere,
But I mean, do you see them winning division consistently
especially
like
in the
they
AFC East
with Buffalo and
every year
Miami
for
and the
10 years
Jets?
straight.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Like the Patriots got away with forever. Crappy division.
Your precious Dolphins are going to lose again this weekend, Mav.
Yep.
Hey, that's fine. See, only reason I was asking about that, I'm sitting here earlier this morning, I'm thinking, I'm like, if you take Kyle Shanahan and you send him anywhere in the AFC and rebuild a team to the potential to how he built the 49ers, how often does he win his division? And does it really depend on where in the AFC he goes
That's just a
to
weird.
succeed?
That's a weird hypothetical.
Who
But I
knows,
mean,
Mav?
But I mean, the whole thing is, if you fire Kyle right now, there's like 31 other teams that'll pick him up, right? That's the whole thing, right? So,
Including the last 3 teams that we just lost to, they would all fire their head coach immediately and hire.
and because of that, it has really created a little game in my head, a nice little hypothetical game. Damn, okay, if Kyle did go somewhere, and if he was to go here, or there, and build a team to the potential of the Niners in that division, how would he fare against the likes of people like Patrick Mahomes?
Was this in your mind thinking, what happens if Kyle gets fired? Where would he go and how would he do? Was that
Yeah.
your train of thought?
I mean, that is my train of thought for the simple fact
I
that,
think that's what it is.
because you think about it, Mike said it all the time. It's 31 other teams that would call him right away, that would fire their coach. Okay, damn.
But hold on, the bigger question is, man, who replaces him then?
Right.
Hey, like I said, I can't tell you that because I didn't know Kyle was gonna give me what he's giving me now when we hired him.
You can, Mav, here's the thing. You can never fire someone without having a replacement in mind. If
Hell,
you do, you're bad at business.
Hell, we were bad at business when we fired Harbaugh and didn't know who the hell we were gonna hire.
Exactly.
We were bad. We were firing people and we didn't know what the game plan was. But on that note, let's go ahead and wrap it up. We're speaking Mav hypotheticals here,
of course,
and we can probably go all night. So as always, it's been a pleasure, fellas. It's been another episode of that Niners Lounge, and my D-backs lost. I believe we got swept at home, and that's gonna suck. But with that being said, as always, again, it's another episode of that Niners Lounge. You can now catch us on Spotify. Moving over to Apple, we are on Twitter and YouTube. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Joined by my boy Mav, my guy Mike, and my guy Drewski. As always, go Niners. Have a good night.
Go Niners.
Yep.